We are going straight to the news that's breaking at 9. Yemen's Houthis have joined the Israel-Palestine War. Houthis say they have launched a large number of drones and missiles towards Israel, adding that the attacks will continue until quote-unquote Israeli aggression does. This is the Houthi spokesperson Yahya Sarria.
With the help of God, our armed forces have launched a large barrage of ballistic and cruise missiles, as well as a significant number of drones at various targets of the Israeli army in the occupied territories.
Israel has warned of a possible hostile aircraft intrusion. It also said that a surface-to-surface missile was fired from an area of the Red Sea. In response, for the first time in this war, Israel has used its long-range Arrow air defense system. Israeli troops have also entered Hamas's vast network of tunnels in Gaza. As of 9 p.m. IST and 5:30 p.m. local time, Israel claims it has begun attacking Hamas operatives inside the tunnel. Here's the paradox. As Israeli defense forces zero in on their prime target, the tunnel, the war is expanding and pulling in more regional players. Where is this headed? And where is the end? Also, will Netanyahu be able to see the war to its end? Will the Israeli Prime Minister survive the war? Bibi has made one thing crystal clear. The war is not over, not yet. Ceasefire is not an option. A ceasefire, Netanyahu says, will be the same as surrendering. And Israel is not going to surrender. What will it do then? Netanyahu says his country will fight. It will fight until this battle is won. That's his quote. And here's our question. Will Bibi survive the war? Chances are he could be gone from office before the battle's lost and won. Israel's generals have turned against Netanyahu. This is retired General Naam Thibon. He is calling for Netanyahu to resign. Thibon recently gave an interview to Israel's Channel 12. He said, and I quote, "People have lost their entire sense of security in the past 3 weeks, and therefore I say directly to Netanyahu, take responsibility. Resign now, it will help the campaign." What kind of country risks leadership change in the middle of a war? Thibon is citing the United Kingdom. The British replaced Neville Chamberlain with Winston Churchill in the middle of World War II. So could Netanyahu be the next Chamberlain? Noam's sentiments resonate with a section of Israel's armed forces. On the 7th of October, thousands of Israeli reservists were planning to protest against Netanyahu. It was their weekly campaign against Bibi's politics and policies, especially the judicial overhaul. This protest was called off following Hamas's attack. The reservists prioritized their duty to protect the country. They prioritized security. But here's the thing. The unity against Hamas does not really mean a unified support for Netanyahu's wartime leadership. Also, this war has now become a fight for more than just Israel's security. It has become a war against Gaza's children. For Netanyahu, it appears to have become personal, almost a case of misdirected anger over being caught napping. Whatever be the case, the result is disastrous. The endless bloodshed and the rising civilian death toll is quickly making Israel the villain in this war, not the victim of Hamas's attacks. It is changing the world's perception of the Jewish state. And you know what? Thibon is right. The bad press is not helping Israel's campaign. Netanyahu knows this, but he also knows that once the war ends, questions will follow. The call for accountability will follow, as will judgment. The last time Israel was caught napping was in 1973. There was a surprise attack on Israel on Yom Kippur Day. The attack was led by Egypt and Syria. Golda Meir was in office then. She was the prime minister. She oversaw the victory, but it was not enough to save her political career. The pressure grew from Meir to resign, to pay the price for ignoring warnings from Jordan's King Hussein. He had warned back then that Israel had a war coming with Egypt and Syria, that it was imminent. Meir was forced to step down. That war is etched in Netanyahu's memory. In 1973, Bibi was a student in the United States of America. He had taken the first flight out of Boston to fight in the war. Today, he's the Prime Minister. He is in Golda Meir's office. and he's facing similar charges. Netanyahu too ignored warnings from neighbors. In fact, Israeli news outlet Ynet had reported that Egypt's intelligence minister, General Abbas Kamel, had personally called Netanyahu days before the attack. Kamel told Bibi that something unusual was going to happen. Bibi was warned about a terrible operation. He did nothing, and Israelis know this. 3 days into the war, there were open calls for Netanyahu to resign. Look now at what this op-ed says. Hamas's surprise attack against Israel is the worst failure in the country's history. It is more serious even than the failure of Yom Kippur. On the 12th of October, Dialogue Center released a poll. In it, 86% of respondents said that the surprise attack from Hamas was the failure of Netanyahu's leadership. 94% of respondents said that the government must bear some responsibility for the lack of security preparedness. 75% said that the government holds most of the responsibility. The October 7th attacks exposed a systemic intelligence and military failure. And above all, the failure of Netanyahu's leadership. Netanyahu can hope that revenge will give Israel a sense of closure, perhaps, and perhaps absolve him of the crime of risking Israel's security. But not every Israeli is mocking Palestinians on TikTok. Most of them don't want to see children being killed, let alone have those children's blood on their hands. Israelis simply want the hostages back. They want their family members back. They want peace, security, and moderation. According to a poll published in Maariv newspaper, almost 49% Israelis want to hold off on an invasion of Gaza. What is Netanyahu offering? For starters, not moderation. He has sent troops into Gaza. Tanks are closing in on Gaza City. Israel's economy is feeling the friction. The cost of the war is reportedly giving Israel a Wuhan virus-like shock. Israeli businesses are suffering. 300 of Israel's most senior economists have called on Netanyahu to divert state funds to deal with the damage from the war. These economists say that the war could cost Israel tens of billions of shekels. What they didn't say is that it could also cost Netanyahu his career. Last Saturday, Netanyahu was asked during a press conference whether he was responsible for what happened on October 7th. Bibi said everyone will have to give answers to hard questions once the war is over. Not everyone in Israel wants to wait until then.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.